under time pressure, we can miss important things. Again, miss cues in our key relationships, miss innovative ideas because we're not really listening. Now, an example of myself being under time pressure, this was about 18 months ago. I was flying home. I live in Chicago now. By the way, I'm from Burlington, went to Waterloo University. And I was flying home, and I flew into O'Hare, and I had my car parked at the O'Hare parking garage, and I land, and I realize I don't have my keys. Okay, so I go to my car. Sure enough, the door's open, and my keys are in the car. That's a bonehead move, right? All right, it gets better, though. I go to start the car, and it won't start. The engine's turning over, or sorry, the engine won't even turn over at all. So I call the guy, they come around, they have the things you can, jump your car, and as he does this, all the lights come on, the radio comes on, and the car is now turning over, but it still won't start. And I'm thinking, why is the car not starting? And look at the gas gauge, and it's all the way on empty. Do you know why? I left the car running. I kid you not. I was running late for my flight, and I drive into the O'Hare parking garage, I grab my stuff, get out of the car, and I forgot and left the car there running. They might think, why didn't somebody take the car? Oh, because everybody walking by is under time pressure. They're missing that there's a free car right there. All right, so you all face some pressure moments. As I walked around this morning during breakfast and asked people about their pressure moments, I heard things like, wow, just multitasking, prioritizing, dealing with difficult clients, managing staff and resources. All sounding familiar? Yeah. So my question for you is, as you face your pressure moments or situations, what's going on in your brain? What's happening to you emotionally? What are you thinking? And most importantly, are those thoughts helpful or hurtful? If you think of Kim, the first comment somebody made is, well, I think I'm going to throw up. Or there's, I can do this. Which of those thoughts is going to be helpful or hurtful to her? So what we're really going to explore is, what is your default? What is happening to you as you cognitively think about your pressure moments? And how can you ensure those thoughts are actually helpful to you? Why is this hard? Why is it that sometimes smart people fail? You probably all have met people either here at NASA or you've met people that you went to college with who were just super bright. I know a few, and you thought, they're going to be the next, leader of the command control center or whatever it is, and they don't do that well. An inability to manage change. Now, I know you don't have much change going on here at NASA, do you? No, you've got an incredible amount of change. By the way, in terms of the impact of change, I love the story of the astronauts who don't like the badge situation. These are individuals who can handle an incredible amount of pressure, who have been through some of the most challenging, uncertain, times in their lives, yet a new badge system throws them off. You see how change affects us? Isn't it just amazing? So what exactly is confidence? Because it's often misunderstood. It's often thought of as arrogance or overconfidence. True confidence is simply a belief in ourselves and our ability to perform a specific task or reach a goal or achieve an outcome. So as I'm driving over to the program with the US Marines, I was telling myself, I'm not good enough. I don't have a military background. I was actually succumbing to the, I have to overperform or do something I'm not capable of, but I was also not feeling like I'm good enough to do this. And here's what's interesting, is confidence is a neurological phenomenon. It's not something you're either born with, you have, or you don't have. It has to do with a balance of two chemicals in our brain. One is testosterone, and speaking of something that's very misunderstood, we're not talking about male aggression hormone. We're talking about the parts of testosterone that are actually quite positive, that give us belief in ourselves, that give us confidence. So in any situation, particularly a pressure moment or situation, we want to have elevated levels of testosterone and confidence and low levels of cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone. That's the one that makes us feel panicky and nervous and anxious. If the reverse happens and we have higher levels of cortisol and lower levels of testosterone, then we come across as less confident, more anxious. Kim in that moment would have had incredibly low levels of testosterone and very high levels of cortisol. All right, that's interesting, but what do you do about it? Can you affect the levels of cortisol and testosterone in your brain? Well, here's the good news, is you can. In the last couple of years, there's been some really amazing research done by Amy Cuddy at Harvard University. And they looked at the effect of body posture on confidence and the balance of testosterone and cortisol. And Amy Cuddy talks about this idea of being open and expansive versus closed and contracted. Here's a really interesting research study. They took test subjects, did the cheek swabbing, and they had each test subject go into a room where the test subject would take a test on a computer screen. And the test on the screen was irrelevant. What they were measuring is they would close the door, and they were measuring to see how long would it take that person to get up, come out of the room, and say, "You forgot about me." You gotta love these research studies, right? All right, here was the main difference. A third of the group did the test on a large iMac screen. A third of the group did it on a medium-sized iPad screen. The third of the group did it on a very small iPhone screen. Which of the groups do you think got up first, had the confidence to get up and say, "Hey, you forgot about me"? The group on the iMac screen, because they were forced into a more open and expansive feeling. The group that did it on the iPad took twice as long as the group that did it on the iMac screen to get up. The group that did it on the iPhone, they had to put a floor on the experiment because they would literally sit there and not get up. They were just stuck there. Low testosterone levels, not sure, what should I do, am I supposed to get up? High cortisol levels, very anxious, literally stuck there. They'd have to literally knock on the door and say, "It's okay, you can come out now." Well, I'm going to share with you a strategy called the SOS. And we teach this to Olympic athletes, US Army commanders. I taught this to the surgeons and Fortune 500 executives from many different organizations, as I said, including some of your clients. It's not complicated. It's very simple. It's just tough to do sometimes. So the first S is stop. Right? We're not actually fighting tigers. Even the surgeon said, unless there's an emergency on the operating table, I don't have to respond right away. During the operation, pre-op, post-op, I can step back. Now, in that moment where you've been triggered and the chemicals are running in your body and your brain, it's kind of hard to do because your emotional or limbic system is really now in control. It's driving your behaviors, your tone, how you affect people. So there's a couple things you can do that are more physical in nature. For example, take a drink of water. Do you know you can't cry and drink water at the same time? Which maybe isn't too important in business. Great strategy if you have kids or grandkids. Until they figure out that's your strategy. "No, Daddy, I don't want water." Okay, well, it works for a while with kids. Another thing you can do is your limbic system will actually start curling your hands. Now, it won't curl it up into a full ball unless you're having a full hijack, but even in a low degree, so open your palms. I'll just open my palms and rest them on my lap. By the way, if you can get up and walk away without it impacting the person you're walking away from, that's actually ideal. Go work out, go listen to music, go pray, go listen, whatever works for you. But there's sometimes we're in meetings where we can't just get up and walk away. We're on a conference call or something, right? By the way, what's the strategy when you get that really annoying email and you know they're wrong and they're and you're typing, there's a type, and you're about to hit reply to all? What do you do with that email? Oh, I love the send it guy. We got work to do, buddy. You and me both, man. I'm like, okay, they need to hear this right now. What I'm here to tell you is in that moment, that's not you at your best.